you this much.
That isn't very much.
Oh, but it is. Because my love for you starts here. It goes all the way around the world and ends up right back here.
The whole cast is gathered around the love of this child. And you begin to understand that it's love that matters. It's simply God's love. And that's what this story is all about.
The story really starts to tell itself if you allow it to. And once you get the actors together and they start developing their characters and the director really gets a chance to start molding the story, it's a story that we can tell in a way that will allow people to relate to it. If we're going to take this movie and just take the straps off and make it a really great story that people can watch and relate to, then let's come up with ideas that transcend the original written page.
I was looking for scripts that would be faith-based movies, and when I found Letters to God, I thought, what a great way to tell that story with a Christian message. It had this cancer element that we thought this would be universal. And what I really liked about it was that the letters took it beyond just the chemo and the horrible disease and gave it an element of hope. Because we want to make movies about real stories of real people that are going through adversity.
There's no message in this bottle.
And if you can empathize with that person, if you can put yourself up on the screen and say, that could be me, or maybe that is me, then we want to give them an alternative. Why not turn to the Bible or turn to God?
Part of Tyler's message for being on this earth was love. There's nothing more important than family and friends and people loving other people. I spoke at his service, and there was 2 people that came to know Christ at his service, and just from the witness of him through his struggles, that's the point where me as a father and a believer, I said, God, I'm finished feeling sorry for myself. I'm yours, use me. However you want to use me. So almost 2 years after he passed away, January of '07, I decided it's time, it's time to write the story. The film itself has so many messages just kind of tangled up in this one story, and that's the beauty of it.
It's about 1 in the morning, and we're shooting a scene where our mailman comes to the church because he's kind of at the end of himself. He doesn't know what to do with his life. Everything's kind of falling apart. And the only place he thinks he can go is the church. So we're going to have a camera up on a crane. And he meets his boss, who's the postmaster. And they sit right here under the cross, and they have a very, very wonderful conversation.
Hold out your hand. Come on. Now put them together. Intertwine your fingers. I think you're right where you're supposed to be. I don't know where that is. I'd say you're right in the palm of God's hands.
He was a reminder that things might be bad, but things could be worse. And gratitude is an ally to your soul, and it's the best friend you could ask for. And I like that. I like the fact that that's what Tyler does to him.
Today's the scene where Brady meets Maddie for the first time. And it's nice. We start to see the human aspect of Brady. And we learn something about the way they feel about Tyler, too, because he's comfortable enough with her to ask about him, so they share a moment of care and concern.
Hey, listen, thank you for taking some time with Tyler. I really appreciate that. Mom, phone! I'm coming! Okay, we'll see ya. Bye-bye.
When people hear the story of Tyler, they will know that they have faith and hope to get through anything. Because to me, hope and faith means that you never really give up. You always believe.
You're reading. Now look up to God. Very nice. Got it.
That's it.
Love that.
Playing Tyler inspired me to do a great job on this film.
So we just applied Tanner's scar from the surgery. We sculpted these and made molds. They're not reusable. So every day it's a fresh card that goes on. And ta-da!
How's it feel, Tanner?
I don't feel it at all.
You don't feel anything?
Not a thing. When I was out on the soccer field, for the first couple of shots, I was running like a normal kid would, but then Patrick had to come over and tell me how Tyler would really run because he just got finished with chemo. So it's been a real pleasure to work with Patrick. I can take my time with the scene, which helps me really be the actor and do a good job with it.
We're actually in a set that we've built just off of one of the main streets in Winter Garden, and we're going to shoot a whole scene in here between Mr. Stevens and his employees, talking about the letters. Come on in and I'll show you. We built this just in basically an abandoned building. They brought in all of these props and everything to make it look like we were actually in the post office.
Can't just shred them, but they keep coming. I'll take care of them, Walter. Go on home.
Sam's just very proud of Tyler. He has cancer, but he cares about other people. He brings Samantha so much potential, and he builds God into everyone's hearts. And she is Tyler's, best friend, and wants to look after him. I want to be a warrior.
Well, Samantha, I talked to the principal. He said you need a little less warrior and a little more peacemaker.
That's it! Samantha the Peacemaker. It doesn't sound as good as warrior, but I'll give it a try. I think she knows with God that everything will be all right.
We're here in front of what we call the Baker House, where our mailman Brady comes up to the house for the very first time, and he doesn't know there's a dog. The dog chases him out of the neighborhood, basically, and he has to retreat to his truck to get away from the dog.
Put your feet up, put your feet up, put your feet up. Go, go.
Oh, okay.
You know, she never gives me pieces of chicken.
Well, the dog gets all the chicken he wants, but I get pasted baby food. Oh, I asked for some shit. Baby food. Stuff stinks.
The chemistry is so great. When you see them acting together, it's so real that they're almost a family. And when Patrick sees the acting and he sees the scenes and says that's exactly the way it was, and you see him tearing up, you know that the actors are doing an amazing job. There's a wonderful chemistry there that you can't really engineer.
I read the script, and it wasn't patronizing, and it wasn't sentimentalizing. It was honest but real, and Mr. Perryfield, my character, developed a profound faith that we are in God's hands and that we're safe. That no matter how tough life can get, there's still a presence there that is for us and to comfort us.
And I think that's really important in a script like this, because to know that this is a story about this man's son. And Tyler is the prime example of someone with unbelievable faith and strength and courage. He's not angry and he's not bitter, and it breathes this beautiful life into the scenes.
We're just actors, but there's kids out there that this is their life. And I think that's a big aspect of my character. And I play the character Ben. And Ben is the typical teen. And he has a big role to take on, being another brother to Tyler. And I think that's the part of the story that just kind of humbles me.
We're just trying to find a melody that sits just right in Michael's range for his voice and fits the emotion of the scene without being too high up in his register.
As you're singing, being his brother, I want to feel that I felt when you were up on the roof and you were talking to him and saying, I don't hate you, I miss that we're not brothers anymore. I feel like I'm never going to see that again. So start acting that and just let it come out. You can change the whole feeling of a movie with music, and so Ryan has written a song for Ben to sing, and we're actually recording it right now, and you'll hear it in the movie when Ben sings it to his brother at Give Kids the World.
If you're staring at your brother in his face and you're telling him how you've gone from this place of a loss of faith and the fact that God is in control, and through him and his example, you've changed completely. This is the same kind of thing with this chorus.
It's really moving because we're trying to really just send a message through this film. To just have faith and believe.
In making this film, David's really our faith-based and our moral compass in this thing, and what he brings as a director. I think you see that on set.
And cut. Very nice. Great job. Very nice.
It gives me a pretty long leash for some of the stuff, but just because I think we both know where this character needs to go, and we're willing to explore together with a sense of trust, which is a nice thing to have.
He lets you step outside a scene and do the really organic thing. I mean, that's what makes us different from the furniture. That's our job. It's a pleasure and a privilege to work with him.
We're actually setting up to shoot a rain scene. The scene is where our mailman is going to pick up the mail, and it's a rainy day, and it's setting up a kind of a darker feel because Tyler's going back to the hospital for chemo. When you shoot something like this, you have to create the rain. You can't shoot with the real rain, and it'll actually create the rain down on the scene that we want.
The medium of film is powerful in itself because of the way it brings us to a point of facing the realities of life. It just kind of draws in and woos all of your senses and has a way of penetrating to a person's heart. This is a story that goes beyond death to deal with the whole issue of hope. And it's not just hoping that things are going to turn out okay. It's not just optimism. Optimism would be trying to survey all of the difficulties in the context of your life and then hoping things turn out for the best. That's not real biblical hope. Biblical hope is finding a confidence in God, that He has made certain promises to us through Christ. And transformation happens only through the gospel. So you put those two things together, the medium of film, but the life-transforming power of the gospel. And you just have something that can't be replicated.
Being able to make movies that honor the Lord through either the story or by hiring a great crew, or hopefully being a success at the box office by giving back in some form. We're actually living God's words.
Dear God, I think we did it. You told me not to be afraid, and I wasn't. I just want everybody to believe. Love, Tyler.
And everything rides on.